Well, it's been a little while for old Joe and Frank, our little lunch deal, but it was so loud in that restaurant. And we got these new little mics we're testing right now to see how well it goes. That way, if we are in a loud restaurant, maybe it'll just pick up our voices. But we did a little test earlier. But figured we'll just go hang out in the car on the way back before we clock back in and have a chat. Frank's been out for a few days, so he's like, man, we got a lot to talk about since he's been gone. So what shall we start with?
Well, I mean, let's look at Trump Russia. New info on the front there, which is nothing.
Yeah, quick look surprised once again. They're talking about the New York Times writer guy, whatever, Michael something I think was his name, or something Michaels or Michael something. They're like, this is the guy that keeps posting, like he'll find it on some obscure website, this ridiculous claim, and then he posts it like it's front page news. And like, here, this is a guy that was wrong a few times, and his manager actually had to tell him, look, you need to back off on some of that stuff, because he made some kind of outlandish claim back when the election was taking place that turned out to be complete nonsense. And sure enough, here we are. It's the same freaking guy bringing this crap to us. And then he said, well, let me clarify basically what I meant, as if he originally saw the transcript of what was said between, and this was going with the recent thing with Trump and his, what he said on tape, whatever, with Comey or whatever. And he said, look, someone who was present or familiar with the matter relayed what they remember it saying, or something like that.
Don't they call that hearsay?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just checking.
I call that REO Speedwagon syndrome. Heard it from a friend who...
Yeah.
Heard it from another who's been messing around. So yeah, man, once again, nothing. There's nothing.
There's absolutely zero. In fact, the only real proof we have of this Russia connection was from, I believe it was from WikiLeaks, that shows that 24 hours after Hillary lost, the Clinton campaign came out and said they needed to blame it on Russia.
Yeah,
and there was email. Yeah, the emails came out and said we need to find somebody that we can blame this on, and decided to blame it on Russia. That's the only proof of any Russia connection that I know of going right now. So there is no Trump collusion. I think it was just made up, and I think they blew it up enough that they get enough. I got to hand it to the Democrats, man. They hold it together. They are.
Yeah, they're united.
They are
united. All right.
Unlike the Never Trump rhinos right now. We need to do some research on who the Never Trump rhinos are. They're stabbing everybody in the back because they don't like Trump. They need to be voted out. We need to get rid of them people. And
how about Maxine Waters? I don't know if I shared it with you guys. Maxine Waters, I don't even know what
she's a waste of space.
I don't know what to describe her.
She's got to be the
California
most ignorant
Democrat.
Hank Johnson and her have got to be the two most ignorant people on the planet.
Absolutely. There were Trump supporters who went into her $4.5 million sidewalk, and were out there protesting right in front of her house. Oh, fantastic. You would think the media, you turn on the media and they'd be saying, hey, look what's happening in front of it, Maxine Waters. Nope. And one of the people that's running, I guess, was, looked like a Spanish guy, running to take her spot, I guess, in the coming election.
Omar...
Yeah, something or another,
like
Rodriguez, or
Rodriguez, something like that. Yeah,
some Spanish last name like that. I think it was something like that. But and he was he looked for the border and everything. This guy knows, whether he's Mexican or not, or from nationality or whatever. But he's clearly a citizen now, and was totally for it. So I loved it. And they were in front of her yard. I was like, this is fantastic, man. This is beautiful.
Speaking of that wasted space, Maxine Waters. Oh Lord, you can't make some of this stuff up. For all of you, I don't know if anybody knows who BlackRock investments are.
Yeah, big.
Big, very, very big. And Maxine Waters now has $200,000 invested in BlackRock, which has connections to a Russia financial company.
They've got connections
retirement account
to all kinds of stuff that you normally wouldn't be appreciative of.
So this was just released. Maxine Waters said it herself, follow the money. Well, somebody did some research. They followed the money.
Guess
and
what?
Sure enough, Maxine Waters has $200,000 in her retirement account and something like $2.5 million in BlackRock securities that are based with a Russia connection to the Russian Federation.
So let me ask you, how does a congresswoman or man who makes just under $200,000 a year, how do they afford a $4.5 million house?
Well, it's known that they can do insider trading.
Of course, insider trading, payoffs,
it's legal.
Also known as campaign contributions. And of course, about the insider trading, we know that BlackRock's going to do well in this, so go ahead and put some money in there and take care of it.
And don't worry about it. It's all backed by the Russia Federation, so you're good to go.
Yeah.
So that's something that's found. I'm sure you're not going to hear that on the local news media, but that was tracked down. And, you know, Trump, making a big deal about Trump and what he said to, he gave secrets away to Russia, declassified or classified information regarding, I don't see where there's a problem with Israel. Israel said, we're okay. We still support the U.S. 100%. And nothing he said gave any secrets away.
Right.
And the media is completely up in arms. It was only a few short years ago that Barack Obama said that he will offer to share intelligence with Russia. And the media said, yeah, that's good. We should share because it's our fight. It's a global fight. It's against sides. So the media was all for it, but now Trump trying to share it, and it's, no, we can't do that.
And what else do we see like that lately? Comey needs to be fired. He needs to be fired for what he did to Hillary. Then he brought up a second investigation just days before the election. That was incredible. He needs to be taken out. Oh, Trump takes him out. Oh, well, no, you can't take him out. Now he's in the middle of an investigation, and you can't do that.
Yeah, sure. He gets close to finding the Russia connection in Trump, and now he takes him out. Anybody who knows anything knows that taking out the FBI director is not going to halt any progress.
They had a hearing, and they said that, would any of these people who would be investigating these, would that stop because this guy's been let go? No, absolutely not, they said.
Comey said he didn't have the resources, so they just asked McCabe, do you have the resources to continue? Yes, we do. Do you have the resources to do, to have this investigation ongoing for a long period of time? Do you have the manpower? Yes, we're fine. We have everything we need.
Yep.
More contradictions with that. Comey, everybody calls him an egomaniac. I don't really know that much about him. I can't really comment as much. He did interject himself into politics. I know he worked for the Clinton campaign way back when.
Yep.
I know that there were emails going back between him and Loretta Lynch, again, WikiLeaks and I believe DC Leaks on those, going back saying that they will do whatever they can to keep Hillary out of trouble. So if we're talking about collusion, there's your collusion right there. Comey testified at Congress the other day and seemed to have perjured himself a couple of times. So I'm hoping that Mr. Sessions takes a look at that and finds out where that perjury happened and does the investigation on that.
Right, well, we also have now the old Mullen, whatever his name is, Mueller.
Mueller, yeah. Mueller,
Bueller, Ferris Bueller, whatever you want to call him.
Bueller.
The left and right, they agree that he's a good choice. I'm thinking, well, that's interesting because this guy was in power back when Bush was in office and through most of Obama's term. So I don't know that I feel too comfortable with this guy looking into anything. However, if he were to find something, they're going to have to show, and he's going to have to show, well, here's the recording or here's the whatever proof that there's something here. So even if he is with the club, and again, if you're in power when Bush and Obama were there, you're part of the club. But that doesn't change anything, just like Comey. Comey couldn't find anything. He had plenty of time. They've had months and months now. You either have recordings or you don't. You either have these transcripts, and again, which would lead to recordings, or you don't. You don't need months and a year or two. You have it or not, because you wouldn't have done the things you did if you didn't have the information, unless you did them illegally.
Which would be the unmasking of everybody.
Exactly.
You had Flynn, where they're making a big deal about Flynn. Flynn didn't say or do anything wrong. He did speak to the Russians. He was talking to them about what was going to happen when they took office and how they were going to work together. There was no collusion thank you for winning the election for us. Sure. None of that. There was no smoking gun. If there was, it would have been all over the place. They've been investigating this for over 9 months.
There were no charges against Flynn.
No charges against Flynn. None. Everything dropped. They basically ruined his life and his career because of what they call as ties to the Russians, where there really were no ties.
Right.
Yeah. Bernie Sanders. Oh, gotta love Bernie Sanders. And we need to talk about Seth Rich too. But Bernie Sanders, this guy, release your tax return. Donald Trump, you release them tax returns. Bernie needs to pay a little bit more attention to his own taxes, because it seems like he forgot to submit some financial records to the IRS. So just like Reverend Al Sharpton, who owes millions of dollars in back taxes, who hasn't paid for his
nothing's happened to him either.
Nothing's happened. Out of jail. They're not taking his money. They're just letting him go. Bernie Sanders, yeah, he just seemed to forget to do some of that. Seth Rich, let's talk about that for a second.
Wow. They said...
Bombshell.
I mean, they're saying, again, this guy was a former D.C. detective, I guess, and now a private investigator. He's the one that came out and said this. It was on a Fox News channel where they broke it, like a local station broke it, the news. Now, all of a sudden, after all this is broken, he's now backed off a bit. But what he did say when he said it, before he backed off, was Seth was alive, and this murder actually happened. There's cameras everywhere, okay? And they said, coincidentally, he happened to be standing in a place, or where he got killed, where no cameras happened to be pointing in that direction. So again, whoever would have met him there would have known this. And I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, it was either the FBI took him out or the police did, because that same detective, private investigator, is saying I've uncovered what appears to be like a criminal gang or mob type thing within the law enforcement here. So once again, who's the DC police chief, whatever? He was the guy right after the Pizzagate thing was going on. It was right around the time that guy came in and remember he shot the AK-47 on the floor or something? And
yeah, the guy went in the Pizzagate.
It was right around there. He got promoted or something to become the DC chief guy, and there was ties to him and Pedogate and everything else, Pizzagate. So I'm like, oh, so the chief is part of the club over here, Pedo Club. He's going to look the other way. It's his guys who went over there when we heard gunshots and went over there. They said that he was alive and was brought to the hospital, and they're saying they did some surgery and everything. He was still alive, and they took him to ICU. And I read this on 4chan, which, by the way, 4chan is becoming that deal. It's not full of crap. It is, everything they talk about seems to be right, seems to be true. And they're saying, and there was a nurse that was down there, and they were blocking people from going into the room at one point, because they do their daily little rounds to check on other patients. And when it came to that patient, no one was allowed in. And later on, of course, he died. Did they kill him there? Did they do, who knows? That is conspiracy, but you're talking about a detective, former, who's now a private investigator, who is saying he's found what appears to be a criminal enterprise, if you will, in law enforcement, and has found out, talking to police officers during his investigation, we were told to completely back off of this and stand down in every way, shape, or form when it came to this shooting. So,
well, if you look at they found his Twitter site, and they found his...
on his laptop. Remember they said
yep.
He believes that laptop holds the key, which will prove there'll be some communication from that laptop to WikiLeaks to prove he was the leaker, in fact.
Yep.
And that's why he got killed.
Yep.
Which is what you and I both said on day one.
Day one.
The day that kid was murdered. We were doing our thing at lunch and talking like we always do. We knew instantaneously they just got him.
And it comes to find
He's
out,
the leaker.
Believe it or not, through some of these websites that they've uncovered, they found domain names that they assume would be him, and that were linked back to him, because they were basically the same name on different things, different sites, that he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. So he was probably very upset how they screwed
him.
Bernie Sanders, and he said, screw these people, Bernie should get this is right. And he took those 50,000 emails and he contacted and sent them to WikiLeaks. And I think if you remember back in the day, we talked about something with Uma Abedin, and I don't know if it was anonymous or Wiki or somebody contacted Uma.
That's right.
And said, we know about your connections with Muslim Brotherhood. We know about your connections with what happened. You need to give us the name of somebody that is doing something, and to let her off the hook, basically. So she turned over, I think she was the one who turned over.
I remember that.
Kind of conspiracy there, kind of big stretch there, but I remember it having to do with Uma, and I remember it having to do with somebody hacked Uma's email and saw that Uma was in receipt of classified documents.
Yep, who then somehow made it to Anthony Weiner's laptop, speaking of, he just got nailed with the most ridiculous.
He pleaded guilty.
I'll tell you now, it'll end up to almost nothing because it was a young girl, but it was consensual. He didn't rape her. And the father was okay with this consensual thing between her and Mr. Wiener.
Of course he was okay with it. He got paid off.
Yeah, and one of the things that Wiener's text to the girl, and again, this is a young girl that's not of the age to even have sex.
16,
I think. Legally, yeah. He said something to her like, I'll pound your, poom poom so hard that you'll be limping for a week straight, your little tight little poom poom, I'm not going to say the word, but me being a father, I'm okay with that. You can talk to my 16-year-old daughter like that. That's okay.
If they gave you $1 million, you might change your story.
Maybe $5 million.
And I mean, it was just talk.
It'd take me $5 million, not $1
million.
$5 million. Yeah.
So it was just talk. So yeah, if you want for $5 million, you could talk. Yeah, that's okay.
Yep. So naturally, my question is, wait a minute. Let's not try to brush Wiener off. What about, speaking of...
No pun intended.
Yeah, let's brush the Wiener off. What the hell was in the folder on his laptop?
Life
insurance.
Yeah.
Remember that folder?
Maybe
life insurance.
Maybe it really contained life insurance.
And it was all stuff related to the email scandals, to the sex, to the pedophile stuff.
Here's the thing. You got Comey, who said that they couldn't prove intent. You have Hillary Clinton, who has security clearances. She's received security documents that are for essentially her eyes only. What is she doing sending it to Huma Abedin to begin with?
Right, that's wrong to begin with.
Number one, she sent it to Huma. That is absolutely wrong. It should have never happened. Right there, you are sending classified information. That requires prison time, and it should be a prison time for every single email that was sent.
Yep.
Then it got sent over to, or somehow received by Anthony Weiner. So, indirectly, if you are inciting violence and somebody goes out to kill somebody, you're ultimately responsible for inciting the violence. She should ultimately be responsible for sending classified email to Huma, knowing that it went to Anthony Weiner. Now he's got it.
Right.
So you should get 2 counts for every single email that you sent. You look at some of our military people, the Navy guy who's on the sub just took a selfie of him in the sub and sent a picture to his wife, had to spend a year in jail because he sent classified information because he had a picture of the sub on his phone that he sent.
Right.
And this guy is spending a year in jail for a picture of something that
this guy's
nothing.
out there ready to press some buttons, nuclear buttons if needed, to protect the world and the country. But meanwhile, those people we're talking about are doing the opposite. They're putting us in trouble. They're making the world hate us. They're doing all these backdoor corruption deals and screwing people and country and citizens over all over the place, including ourselves. They get off scot-free. Nothing to see here. Anthony Weiner, just admit this, the bogus lowest charge we're going to fire at you.
Yep.
You may do a few months in jail, maybe, and have a nice day in exchange for that life insurance folder that you had on that laptop. That's what you're going to get. So that was probably his deal he got.
Probably.
And they got a whole bunch of information. So my next thing would be, okay, one of these groups that files Freedom of Information Act and files lawsuits if they need to, they should be filing a lawsuit. We want that damn folder and everything in it.
Never going to happen.
Exactly. We lost it. We don't comment on investigations. It's still open for investigations. We can't give it up. And
just like every single thing that's transpired over the last 8 years, we're going to open an investigation and it's going to go right into a black hole and nothing will ever get done.
Hire a new committee, as we always say.
If Trump wants to drain the swamp, by golly, drain the swamp. Mr. Sessions, get out there, look at this email stuff. We automatically know that she sent classified documents. What was the intent? We don't know. What was the intent of the Navy guy when he took a picture? It was to show his little girl where he worked.
Yeah.
That was his intent. His intent wasn't to deliver that to the Russians.
And if you want to go there, let's say Trump talked with Putin about ISIS and these bombs potentially being on laptops. Again, they want to both fight the same enemy. And that was classified about this laptops potentially being used by ISIS, and he discussed it with Putin. Was there intent? Did he intend to release classified information in respect that it's, breaking the law? Or is he doing it to say, hey, this is potentially an ally. We want to work together and defeat these guys, so I'm going to share this information with them. There's no intent.
The
to do
intent
harm.
is to protect the world.
Right, the intent is to protect the world. No intent to do harm.
To save the
people. You can say the
people.
same thing, but if you say that to these liberals, oh, that's not the same, that's not the same. Yeah, you're right. Hers is a million times worse.
Hers is worse. What she did, how she did it. She needs to go to prison. And I don't know what's taken Jeff Sessions so long and the FBI so long. I don't know what's taken so long. This looks...
Well, what's taken so long is because, like I said, the different layers from the top-down pyramid are embedded with hand-picked people that are Obama and Bush and everybody, New World Orderers, if you will.
Yep.
The status quo, that's who these people are. Now they got a new boss who's not in line with their thinking, but they're several rungs down the ladder. So, yeah, I'll investigate that. We'll up and throw it back there. I'll get right on that, Mr. President.
Well, Jeff
Sessions... he's got to do some
Sessions...
serious cleaning.
Jeff Sessions should take charge of that and go person by person and appoint his people and say, I want you to investigate this. I want to know. I don't know what investigations you need. Jim Comey gave a 15-minute dissertation of why Hillary Clinton was guilty and then said, we're not going to press charges.
Right. Gave you 3 major reasons right off the bat why she should be charged. But we're going to recommend her not be charged.
Right. That was all...
Just like he did in 2002 and 3 with the Clintons. And just like he did again in the 1990s with the Clintons, where they didn't want to go further with any investigation either. Now, he wasn't FBI head then, but he was still, I think, an attorney general or something. Worked at the Justice Department, I think, at one time. And once again, Comey and the Clintons, free ride, third free ride, have a nice day. So you know what, Trump, you did a great thing by getting rid of this turd.
Yeah, well, maybe Comey is getting some money from the Clinton Foundation.
Oh, there's no question. His brother, remember his brother was invested in one of their things, Clinton's.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know that much about that.
I forget for his brother's name, but yeah, he's attached to something that invested something in one of the Clintons' deals. So again, it's just a big, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, and sometimes there's a third or fourth party out there that most people can't make the connection. Like my brother and his wife and that person, But again, with the day of the internet and searching and finding anything on anybody, it's real easy these days. It's just amazing how they're all interconnected.
But you can't get the fucking liberals to look at it. They think everything is a conspiracy, and then you ask a liberal about Trump, Russia, and it's, oh my God, he's giving away our secret. There's zero evidence of it. But the problem is the media. The media is blowing it up and talking about it. Rachel Maddow, the sky is falling.
Oh my God.
And, Chris Hayes, the sky is falling. And these people are so in the tank with their head up their ass about trying to relay the message that the DNC is trying to give to them.
Yep.
If you ever listen to the radio in the morning, every radio station gets the same talking points. This radio station, that radio, let's talk about the weird news, what's going around, weird news around the world today. You hear one radio station, they give you the story about a lady and her dog, and this lady who beats up her husband for a 6-pack of Miller Lite, or you hear these, and then you go to the next radio station. Hey, we've got some weird news from around the world. Did you hear about the lady? It's all the same story. It's the same story. It's disseminated to all the media, and the media just blow it up. And I think that they really feel the more they keep saying and talking about it and blowing it up, that people are going to believe it. I don't see it. So many people know it's fake news.
Yep.
You hear it everywhere. The term fake news is everywhere. Even guests on CNBC. CNBC even came out and said that what did they say? They think that this is going to be the Trump Russia is just a coup to get Trump out of office. Even CNBC made that statement.
Yep.
You get Spicer giving his press conferences, and what Spicer says in his press conference, when it goes to print media, it's completely different. They're making it out and blowing it up and making fake news and leasing stuff out. Newt Gingrich said it, I'll say it. I wouldn't have a problem if Trump said, we're not going to do these press conferences anymore because I'm thinking so fast that by the time I'm going through processes, things have already happened and changed.
Right.
Let Trump give the press conference once a week.
Yeah.
And maybe just print out what's in the press conference in written format until the media understands they're not going to be able to twist the words when it's already written out. This is what we're going to release as a press conference.
Here it is. You can't twist it. It's in writing. Here, have a nice day.
Everybody submit one question. Your questions need to be submitted by Wednesday.
Yep.
On Friday, all of your questions are going to be answered, and they're going to be done in written form.
Yep.
So you can't twist the words and do all that stuff.
Yep.
So, all right.
And on that note, we got to roll.
Got to roll. Back to work.
See ya.